everybody, it's Brother Chris here from Divine Oracle Podcast. I've got Jillian sitting in right now, and we have something special today for you guys that we're starting to do once or twice a month. So I'm going to throw over to Jillian.
Hi, and welcome. I hope everybody's having a good day. It is fantastic outside. The sun is shining. It's like 18 degrees here in the region. So we're just going to kind of go right into it. I have the founder of Whispers of Eden Spiritual Services here. Her name is Deanna Brown, and I'd like everybody to welcome her on today's podcast and show.
Hello, how are you?
Doing good.
Nice to be here.
Yeah, I know beforehand we just had a little bit of technical difficulty, but that's what kids basically do. So,
oh, yes. Can I have it?
Yeah. So, like Jillian was saying, though, that you're actually the founder of Whispers for the spiritual stuff.
Yes.
Do you want to let our viewers know sort of what you deal with by any chance?
So right now it's mostly online. I used to have a shop, but then I closed that down. So what I do is I'm a clairvoyant medium. So I offer mediumship readings. I do different workshops, classes. I also offer like reflexology, Reiki, those types of things. So I've been doing that basically just for helping people to connect with spirit and knowing how to accept that there is something out there after our physical demise on the earth.
And how long have you been actually practicing, if you want to call it practicing?
Well, I guess practicing professionally, I'd say about 15, 16 years, but this is something I've done my whole life.
Okay.
How old were you when you started getting into the spiritual side of things?
So I was pretty much born into this kind of a lifestyle. So I used to sit and listen to my father and my grandmother talk about their experiences. And, I used to think, oh God, this is so fun. This is so creepy and cool. And I think probably one of the first times I can actually remember me experiencing something, I was about 7 or 8 years old, and it was at my house. And I think I've told this story on here before, but I was laying in my bed and I saw like a shadow person, is the best way I can describe it, of a tall man with a cap on, and he had like a briefcase in his hand, and he walked past my bedroom door down towards my parents' bedroom. And I remembered laying there thinking, who is that man? And why isn't my dad like throwing him out? So the next morning when I woke up, I had said, asked who the man was. And my parents said, there was nobody here. And I thought, oh, okay. So me being me, I don't just take no for an answer. I've got to figure things out. So I had gone next door to my neighbor's house, who was an elderly woman. And I was telling her about this. And she said, oh, well, that's probably old Doc Martin. He used to live in the house and he passed away in the bedroom where your mom and dad are now. So that was pretty much my first experience.
Now, I know for you and I, we do go way back.
Yes.
On the fun times.
Yes.
And this is before anything actually really came to connection. But you did a lot of events with us actually in the past.
Yes.
One though that actually sticks out to me is you were too scared at first, but you dealt with our guest that was actually on last week's show, which is Jackie.
Yes.
And you came to Stratford, Ontario, and that's the very first time we really connected more with each other.
Right.
Right. We sat in the room with a whole bunch of other spiritual mediums and all that. Right. What do you remember most from that, by any chance?
Meeting you, kind of just sitting, and I was trying to pass on messages for you.
Yeah.
And just finding out that, your Indigenous background and that kind of surprised me. And fresh in my memory at the Queen's, was that when you were doing the the other mediums, and we did the whole talk sitting there. Okay.
The walkthrough tour.
Yeah, and it was cold, and we went out to the cemetery, and we went out to the water, by the water. Is that the one?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'm thinking. Okay. Yeah. So again, me walking in, kind of like, oh my God, there's all these other mediums here. What am I doing? But I just, remember going out with you and Trevor and the other people, standing by the water, picking up the information, the energies that were there. The hotel itself was just absolutely amazing. The energy that was in there was amazing. And of course, my favorite room, and I always get the man's name wrong, Mr. Pinkett, was it?
Mr. Pinknees.
Pinknees. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. It was just, for me, it was kind of like a eye opener, because it gave me a sense of that, I'm not alone in the world. There's other people that can do this as well. And it was kind of like a family, and we were just kind of all working together. And, it was interesting to find out, like at the end, when we all sat together and we, collaborated, and we found out that the things that we each were picking up on actually made sense. So that was really interesting for me.
Yeah. Now, going back to that one though that you were just talking about, just before you realized, so this was actually in Milton, Ontario. For people that know Ontario quite well, the location was right beside the ski hill, right beside the 401. It was the Country Heritage Park. This was your very first major outing with us.
Yes.
And you did bring somebody from England with us, which was so wonderful. Now, for that there, what do you kind of remember that?
Okay, now, okay. So this was the night where you had to do like that psychic surgery on one of the ladies, wasn't it?
Yes.
Where she was having the really bad headache, and you had determined that there was like a spirit that had like a bullet or something in their head. Yep. Was that the one?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember that. I remember the kind of the chaos that went around that whole thing, and how you were able to make that disperse and help that person. That was pretty amazing. Okay. That house. Oh, and I do have a picture actually from that house. I don't know if it was you that sent it, but when we were inside the house and we were trying to connect with anybody in spirit that was in there, the one picture was taken and it was just nice and clear. And then somebody took a second picture and the whole room was full of fog, but like that ectoplasm. And I remember that. So I look at that picture quite often and I just think, holy geez, that was for me, that was really neat, because I don't usually get to see things physically in like photos and that type of thing. But we did have quite a lot of really good evidence that night. Like a lot of stuff was happening that night.
Yes, all the teams that were there, all the people that were involved. There was a lot of back and forth. And I remember I was there because I was on behind the scenes camera duty, and so I was running barn to house to wherever they had me running to, and it's a few times I was able to sit in on some of the spiritual talks, and it was just a lot of overwhelming experience. So my question to you is, how overwhelmed did you feel that night that was happening? Being on the front end of it, and I was kind of behind the scenes, but still kind of involved.
So I was feeling overwhelmed because for me, like when I open up to like spirit energy, it's kind of like I can't decipher between one spirit to the other most of the time. So I remember I was having breathing problems. I was trying to catch my breath a lot. And I think at one point, and I don't know if this is the same time or not, but I was really, really drawn to the back stairs. Like, when you go out of the house and around, and there's the stairways that went down into the little cellar.
Yeah.
Is this the same night, Chris? Where?
So.
I believe so.
Okay, so I was really drawn to it, and I was like saying, like in my head, I'm thinking, you really shouldn't be doing this by yourself, Deanna. Like you should have somebody come with you. But I thought, oh, nothing really is going to happen. So I remember kind of standing at the top of the stairs and then getting afraid and feeling like, oh, I need to sit down. Like I shouldn't be standing. I shouldn't be standing. So I sat on the stairs, and then I started feeling like I was a little child, like, kind of in a fetal position at the bottom of the stairs. And I was trying to get help, but I couldn't understand why, like nobody could hear me. Nobody, it was very strange, but I had like a connection with children and then being at the bottom of the stairs. And I was getting afraid because I kept thinking, I'm going to fall down these stairs. I'm going to fall down these stairs. So I was able to get myself up, but I needed some help from, I think it was Chris and Jackie that had to help me. And I was later told that what I was experiencing was actually a teacher that had taken her class on a school trip there. And somehow I think she had fallen down the stairs or, so I was actually experiencing what happened to her, where I thought it was a child that was down there being afraid. So that really, really has stuck with me for all these years, that it's amazing how spirit is able to make you understand their story in so many different ways, because I was always taught that, oh, it can only be one way and you got to do it this way all the time. So that's when I started realizing, like, I do my mediumship differently than what Chris would do or that Jackie would do. So that was kind of a turning point for me, because then I realized that I didn't have to try to fit into somebody's mold. I could just do it the way I do it.
Now, with your own service that you actually run, right, with Whispers, can you sort of elaborate with us what you more or less do with the people, if people come to you and help?
More in depth of the area that you're doing for your services, for the spiritual services. Where do you pinpoint things? Like, what is if I came to you and said, hey, I have a haunting, I have a spirit, I have something connected to me, how would you go about explaining that to me if I didn't understand what was going on with me?
Oh, okay. So like if somebody was asking me like what's happening in my home or what's happening to me.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of two things. So like I usually will try to talk to the person first. Like usually somebody will connect with me through my Facebook page or whatever. And sometimes I can help them right through there. Like I just get feelings, I get, information that way so I can tell them. But a lot of times I'll just say to them, I would like to come out and actually see the space, feel the space. So typically I don't charge for that because I just want to see what's going on. So I'll go out and I'll check out and I'll see what's happening there. For me, quite a lot of times, it's not. People seem to think everything is demons or evil, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of times when I'm going out to people's homes or I'm trying to talk to people, it's a loved one or a family member that's trying to get their attention. But it's kind of like here in life. If somebody's talking to you and you're not really paying attention, they're just going to keep making it stronger and stronger and stronger, right? So quite often it's like a grandmother or a mother or a family member that's just trying to say, hey, I'm here with you. But, people are like, well, they're throwing things and they're doing this and they're doing that. So I will go in and I will explain to them, this is what you need to do. Okay. You don't always need a medium. So if you're having something like this, the first thing I would suggest you do is just in your mind, say, hello, who is this? Okay. If you get a family member or somebody that, pop into your head, that's who it is. Acknowledge them. See if the activity slows down or stops. And most of the time that's all that's needed. Okay. If it continues, then I go out and I have other people that I go out with and we like do like the investigations and stuff like that, and we work with them that way. But on our team, we have like a group, like a whole group of people. So then it becomes a team effort.
Now, talking about group though, we want to plug actually your group's name.
Yes. So the team that I'm on is called Whispers from Beyond Paranormal Investigations. We are located, the main team is located out of Dutton, St. Thomas area. I myself, I live in London, but I used to be in Dutton, so that's how I became involved with them. So we've started really kind of getting out there again about 2-3 years ago after COVID, and doing more investigations in that. But we have over like 30 years of experience combined with everybody's years and stuff on the team.
How many people are on your team?
Right now we have, let me see.
You can name them if you want.
Okay, the main ones right now, we have Mike, who is the person that I consider is our team lead. We have his wife, Jen. We have Jonathan, who works with me. Like, they all work with me, but Jonathan and I tend to kind of feed off each other. So he's like he's a sensitive. I don't know what he would like to be called, but he's very sensitive as well. Then there's Kim, and you met Kim. She came to a couple of your events. We also have Paul. He's the one we like to tease. He's our team skeptic. And then we've just brought in, I can't remember her name. There's a couple of other new people that have just been brought in, but those are the main people of the team.
Okay. All right. So yeah, we'll be right back after this quick commercial break, and we'll talk more with our special guest, Deanna Brown. Hey everyone, check out our merchandise that we have now listed underneath HauntedLivePodcast.com. We used to be on Etsy, but we found a little bit of troubles with that, so we are now on HauntedLivePodcast.com with our merch store. Check it out. We've got so much items all together, with cleansing items and crystals and so much more. Check us out, HauntedLivePodcast.com.
Follow us here at Haunting Live, our new shows, and we are honored to have a brand new co-host on our shows now. Yolanta Mary is our co-host, and she does a lot of work for us on the side and introduces people to the show and discusses different topics on the show. So we're really happy to have her here this season. So go check out our brand new episode.
All right, so yes, we're back now from break, and again, we're talking with spiritual medium, actually, Deanna Brown. She's a good close friend of mine, even though there was a little bit of break in between because Deanna needed to get actually her spiritual life back on track, which was awesome. But yeah, we go way back. Now, I know what we did the year that COVID hit Canada. We were originally supposed to go to one location with you. And
that's right. Yes.
And then all of a sudden we were in the hotel. We got call from the hotel though that COVID hit. They were shutting down everything. But you sort of want to mention about the name of the location since that's one of your favorite hotspots.
Yes. So we and I mean it's nobody has the monopoly on it, but it's like the Bacchus Page House is our baby. We're very protective of the Bacchus Page House. And that is in Dutton, Ontario. And it's a small museum. It's a home. It's like a homestead. And they have all kinds of things happening there. They do the reenactments of the war. They do, they have heritage days. They do a lot. But yes, that home is our baby. It's got the family members are still there. We ask people not to move them on because they don't want to be moved on. So that for us, we like to do a lot of our publics there because it's a family. It's not anything that anybody's going to come into contact with something dangerous. So we do a lot of our investigations there, and it's quite funny sometimes because the you know the female of the house will get frustrated with us because we're waking the children up, or don't stand so close to the stove. Like she gets frustrated with us, but it's kind of like going into a family setting now with them.
Oh my gosh.
And you did go with us, but we didn't get to go inside, right?
No, we didn't get a chance to go inside. We were ready to go inside. Also, we got the call the day before and indicated that COVID hit Canada. I do remember those with you though, that we went across the road to the cemetery.
Yes, I love that cemetery.
And there was one thing though that you weren't too sure about, and I'm the one that spotted it out, then notified to you. But there's one cemetery plot there that originally had the bell attached to it. Years ago, how they did it though, they actually tied the bell to the person, and up top was the bell directly of themselves. So there was a rope attached to the person, so the way the person could be rung.
Yes.
And most people think that's Hollywood, but to see that though is very shocking.
Yes.
Now
I forgot about that.
Now you actually did travel with Trevor, which is my life partner, the host of Haunted Live podcast. You were in the back location, actually towards the river.
Yes.
All right, and you guys saw something actually back in the field.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that at all?
That was what I believed would have been like I don't know the proper word, like a Sasquatch, Bigfoot type creature. Is that one?
Yes.
Yeah. That one kind of startled me because I've always heard of those, but I always thought, wow, that's just, like you said, Hollywood, that's a story. But that was for me, it was a very eerie feeling to be like being watched like that, and kind of felt like we were being followed. So I do remember that, but of course, the people we are, we're not going to run. We got to watch. We got to see.
Got to investigate. Got to go closer.
You kind of standing there shaking in your boots, but going, ooh, got to see what else happens. And there was I remember there was like a very distinct smell that went with it as well. And that was very interesting. And then it's okay. I don't want to fall down this hill, so we back up.
It's like whenever this is for everybody out there listening, whenever you're going actually out to a location with professionals who know the spiritual community really well, watch your walking area. Doesn't matter what type of year it is, but watch your walking area. You might stumble, you might fall, and it's always good to travel with people. I know that day that we had a couple other people with us that day, and it was pretty good though to spend time, especially right when the COVID started. I think even during that time, the whole energy was strange to begin with, anyways, with the whole COVID thing. So it was, to me, it was just a very surreal type of day, because you're out in a space that but you can't get into it. You could feel the energies were a bit wild and crazy that day. Yes.
And it was cold. Like we got to start going out when it's not cold.
so true. It's like
when the sun is shining.
It's like
But
So, is there anything though that you can sort of remember, like major stories that have actually still stayed in your head, though, that you remember to do with actually your spiritual life?
So for me, I don't know if this is what you're asking, but for me, it was very hard for me to accept this part of myself. Because even though my father had the abilities, and his mother and his grandmother, when I would talk about it, I was told, no, that's not possible. That's not possible. As a child, I would have what they would tell me were night terrors, but I know now they weren't night terrors. I really wasn't listened to be honest. It was just, I was a silly little child. Growing up, I never felt like I belonged in any group or any place, because I just always felt like I just didn't fit in, and people didn't accept me the way I wanted to be accepted. So for me, and I'm not saying like, oh, it's been doom and gloom, but it was it was a lonely life. It's a lonely thing. Then, when all these things are happening to me, and I'm actually experiencing what's the word I'm looking for? I'm experiencing spirit connections. Okay, so I'm now scared, because at this point I'm working as a nurse, and I'm going in and I'm feeling things, and I'm seeing things. I ended up having like nervous breakdowns, and then you go to a psychiatrist, and then they say, oh well, you've got schizophrenia. So I remember them medicating me, putting me in hospital. It's not funny, it was horrible, but putting me in hospital. And they had me on these high doses of medication. And all I can remember is sitting there going, oh no, this is not good, because it just made it even worse. So I'm sitting in a hospital on a psych ward, and all this, I'm seeing every walk of life from spirit coming at me. And it was quite terrifying. So I was on medication for a few years, but it just made it worse. So I stopped, and then that's when I started learning how to actually rein in and trying to work with spirit energy. So once I did that, I started being able to accept, like, yes, this is happening, but I was still afraid to tell people that I could do this, because I just so badly wanted to be accepted, right? But I then realized, like I said, at the house in Milton, that's when I realized, like, I'm allowed to do what I need to do. I'm allowed to work the way I need to. So that was a turning point for me. But over the last 4 or 5 years, I've just really have started coming into who I am and accepting that this is who I am. If people don't like me, that's okay, because you know what? I don't like everybody either, right? So if, for me, like I said, the journey was hard, because my biggest thing was always I wanted to be accepted. I had to learn that, things change, life's change, relationships change, friendships change, but the only thing that doesn't change is who I am. And now I embrace this, and I actually can look at myself in the mirror now and say, look at you, you've done good, you're a good person, and I love you for who you are. And now I go out and I do these readings and stuff. Like, I used to get booked for readings, and I'd panic, because I'd be like, oh, I'm not going to be good enough, I can't do it. Now I'm just like, I'm going out, I'm going to do what I do, and if they understand, great. If they don't, that's fine. I did what I have to do. So like I said, it was scary, it was happy. There's a lot of things that goes with this, but now I'm in a place of complete peace and joy as to knowing who I am and what I'm here to do.
Now, I'm going to bring up to do with last time, though, that you and I, we were, not last time, but the one time, though, that you and I, we were sitting together in front of a bowl.
Okay.
And the bowl was black.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Now, for people just listening, what we were doing, though, is we were in a group with our past guest, Jackie, and Jackie got Deanna and myself to sit together. But I was kind of worried about our spiritual energy. But what we had in front of us, so we had a black bowl. And what we did, those in the black bowl was water. We had to spin the water around. And then there's people sitting also at the table. They had to pick up what they could see from the energy. Now, yours was awesome, though, what you picked up, if you remember that.
I remember some of it, so
Okay.
you might have to fill in the spots.
What you picked up from me.
Yeah, that your Indigenous background, is that?
Yes.
Like, that's all I remember from that, to be honest.
Yeah. So I didn't tell anybody at the time about this, and this is one thing that Deanna picked up. So what I'm trying to say to the people, though, is you can also use objects. You can read from people's energy that's all around you. And like what Deanna said, those don't be scared. You are yourself. Now, where are you going to be within the next couple of weeks, by any chance?
Oh, I've got lots of things happening.
You've got a couple. You got a couple shows bookings.
Yeah, I'm now booked up until November. So once a month, I've been working with a group called the Witches' Lair, and they host like witches markets. So I've been working with them. So I've been doing their markets. So I'll be doing at least once a month, sometimes twice a month. I'll be doing that. With my team coming up in May, we are going to be doing an investigation at the old courthouse here in London. So we've got that. This weekend, again with the team, we're at the Bacchus Page House doing a public event. Yeah, I'm just it's kind of blown up. So we're doing all kinds of things, but the ones that I'm looking forward to are like the markets and stuff, because it's getting me back out there, and I really have fun with this group of women. They're just absolutely amazing, and they're crazy like me, Yeah. So so I'm just there's quite a few. I know I'm missing things. I know also in October we're going to the Queso train station in St. Thomas, and we're doing a public event there as well with the team.
If people are interested in that, how could they get tickets, or is there any tickets for it? Or
so the event this weekend is sold out. The events are always on our Whispers from Beyond paranormal investigation team page, and I will link them onto my Whispers of Eden spiritual services page as well. And they can also find it if they go to the Bacchus Page House link as well. So it's listed on those three.
What is the average cost for your public events that you do?
They're $40. And then each person, like what Trevor and Chris would do, you do a little talk, you explain the equipment, and then each of the people get to pick up a piece of equipment, and then we just go out and basically we stand back and let them do the investigation, and we hop in where they need help. And it seems to be, it surprises me how fast these sell out, and people really, really enjoy them. So they're about $40 per person.
So how many skeptics do you get in your groups? I know when I was with Chris and Trevor and we did a couple of the events, we would get about 3 or 4 skeptics amongst them. And by the end of the night, some of them were going, I completely believe. And there was, 1 or 2 that would go, this is a crock, but they have a different level of understanding. So how many kind of do you experience in that way?
We usually get 1 or 2. So sometimes what we get is people that, and I'm not trying to put people down or anything, but people that think everything that happens is spirit. So we have to kind of reel them in and say, oh no, that was, this, if we're in a place with electricity or heat, that was the heater coming on or something like that.
Debunking,
because that again is another important part of being an investigator. You don't want to sit there and try to sell everything's spirit, right? You got to be realistic about it. But the ones that we do have, so they are quite funny. But the one that I find the funniest is the Paul on our team, because he's like, nah, that's not happening. And then when something does happen, his jaw is kind of hitting the floor, and he's like, yeah, I don't know what's going on, but so it's quite funny. And then he just sits there, and you can see it in his head going, I don't know how to explain this. I don't know how to explain it. So me being me, I just get a kick out of that. So I love to tease those people at the end of the night going, so how do you like us now?
That is something. With your team skeptic, I'm sure he's still skeptic, but he's kind of coming around, but he's still trying to debunk everything.
Yeah. So we have like one of my friends, it doesn't matter where she goes, every house she moves into, there's something. So we go to her places quite often, and I remember like she collects all these crystals and she has all these, things. So we go into her house and Paul's standing in front of the like all the shelves with all these crystals, and all of a sudden this sphere that was like 2 rows behind of all these crystals comes popping out and lands at his feet. And I remember him just kind of standing there going, okay, well, yeah, I don't know. But he's trying to like logically, like, how did that lift up and come over 3 rows of crystals,
And then hit him in the feet.
Yeah. So it's like I said, I'm a little bit of I don't know what the right word is, but like I said, when people tease or, make fun of what I do, I just kind of sit back now and chuckle, because then I wait for them to have an experience, and then I laugh at them and say, see, I told you, I'm not crazy. So yeah. I get great joy out of that.
So how can people reach out to you by any chance?
So again, if they want, they can reach me through the Whispers of Eden Spiritual Services page on Facebook. And even if they want to talk, if they can't find the Whispers from Beyond Paranormal Investigation, which is also on Facebook, they can connect to me and I can help them as well.
Through your Facebook
page. Right now we're working on pardon?
Through your Facebook page, Deanna Brown.
Well, you can reach me through Deanna Brown on Facebook or through my business page on Facebook, Whispers of Eden Spiritual Services.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know if you want the links for that or whatever, but...
Well, what we will do, we will put that actually in the attachment below, though, for people that have been listening to us directly here in Podbean. And that's what we'll do, again, check out... We do have to say those... Thank you very much for taking part in today's show.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, it's good seeing you again.
Same.
So it's like but yes, we do say thank you very much to everybody that's actually tuned in. Again, if you want to be able to check out with Deanna Brown, actually that's Whispers of Eden Services. Spiritual Services. I'm pretty sure that's the name. Jillian's got the name. So, but yeah, what we'll do is we'll throw an attachment actually on. Again, Deanna Brown. We do say thank you very much for being actually on today's episode. And for everybody else, check out actually a lot of our podcasts here in Podbean, and also check out for special guests. Again, thank you very much, and you guys have a wonderful day. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.